It's not too late to become a crypto millionaire, but you need to act now. I'll share how I would approach becoming a crypto millionaire in this upcoming crypto bull run and doing it with a relatively small amount invested. And why listen to me? Well, I became a millionaire in my 30s, a crypto millionaire shortly thereafter, and now I'm a multi-millionaire. Crypto has been the single biggest driving force behind these milestones. This is not a definitive way to become a crypto millionaire. It's just how I would do it if I were doing it over again. I'm not a crypto guru. I can only share my own experience, and you can use that as a guide if you want. The first thing I do is I would be looking for early and undervalued tokens and coins. This is by far the #1 key to becoming a crypto millionaire. It sounds easy, but surprisingly, it isn't. Once upon a time, 2 crypto cycles ago, and during that time and stumbling across the Bitcoin Talk altcoin announcement forum where a lot of new cryptos that were mineable were announced, and it was there that I mined something called Zcash. And at the time with my GPU mining rigs, I was mining thousands and thousands of these Zcash coins every single day. When I read the announcement for this one, it stood out to me for a variety of reasons, which I'll tell you more about, things I look at to see whether something is worth my time or not. Then over the course of the next year to 2 years of me accumulating it, I spent between $8,000 to $9,000 on electricity, but also direct investments in this crypto. And again, this is one of many that I was either mining or investing in through that period. Well, just before this most recent crypto bull run in 2021, that crypto called Zcash changed their name to Flux. They pivoted their entire project to compute and nodes and all this good stuff. The price went to the moon, and those thousands and thousands of Flux I was mining per day, well, when the Flux coin went to over $3 per coin, that was a lot of money that I was mining in those early days. My $8,000 to $9,000 turned into over $1 million. And my Flux story is not my only success. There's been other ones that have also been big winners, maybe not to quite the same degree, but some are pretty close. And this is something that I think is easy to dismiss as, Andy, you just got lucky, or you just happened to pick the right one. And there's certainly some element of that to this, but I think there's more to it than just that. I think there's a way you can actively go out there searching for these types of things and having them find you. So let me tell you a little bit more about that. What was it about Flux or Zcash at the time, or other ones that were successful, that I looked at and I recognized that they were quality from the beginning? Well, I looked at things like, do they have a public team, and did that team have lots of experience? I looked at their GitHub, which if you don't know what a GitHub is, it's where a lot of these projects put their entire repository of all their software and code, and it gets updated all the time. And if you find one that has lots of activity and lots of updates and they're working on it all the time, well, that's probably a good thing. Was it a fair launch? Meaning, did I, by mining it, have the same advantage that anybody else did to get into it early on? Does the project make sense? Is it some crazy, vague idea or some huge ambitious thing like we're going to change the entire face of the world through this crypto? Or did it have some purpose that made sense to me and I could see it having real world applications? What about the tokenization, the tokenomics? How many tokens or coins did the team get, and how are they distributed? In the case of mining, well, a lot of that's figured out because as you mine it, they get distributed naturally through the miners. But ones that are all created at once, a token that might have different tokenomics. And then the last thing I look at when I'm getting into all this stuff is just gut feeling. And this is one that is not as reliable, and it might take some time to hone, but sometimes I just look at these various projects and they have something about them that makes me give them a second look. And the longer you're in this space, the more you can hone that feeling, that lens to look at these things through. But the single most important thing when you're looking at these various projects as you're going through them, deciding which ones you should spend time on, is they have to be undervalued. And I'm looking for big potential plays, not smaller potential plays. So what does that mean? Well, a big potential play is one that could do a 50x or a 100x or 1000x. A smaller potential is one that could do a 5 or 10x. A 5 or 10x is amazing, but I want to put my money in places where it could do really crazy numbers. So that typically means projects that either are just being announced, they're just emerging, or they have really small market caps. Like a project I'm into right now that is in my top 3 projects that I'm the most excited about is Tempe. And right now, Tempe has a $4 million market cap, which is almost nothing in the crypto world. Flux today has a $200 and something million market cap. Caspa, another longtime channel favorite of mine, has a nearly $4 billion market cap. So I want ones that are small, but have some of those fundamentals and things I just talked about that could get really big. But how do you even find these in the first place? Well, there's lots of different ways you can do it. A great way is to join communities, join Discords. There's tons of free ones. Lots of YouTube channels have them. If you want a more premium and less noise, more signal kind of a community, well, you can look at ones like Sleep Money Club, my own private membership group. But you just want to be in a bunch of different communities around people who are all scouring the web, looking for all these opportunities. And I'd recommend you do some of that scouring of the web. Look at all your favorite YouTubers, look at their videos, and take all the good content from their videos, but then go straight to the comments. What are other people in the comments saying? Hey, Andy, you should be looking at blank. And then go look that thing up and see if it has any merit, if it has any interest to you. Go on Twitter, do the same thing. Go to your favorite accounts. What are people saying in their replies? I found some real big winners just going through comments on Twitter, YouTube, other social media platforms. Then of course you can still do things like I originally once upon a time did all the time, which is go to a forum like the Bitcoin Talk forum and go to the altcoin announcement section and sort through those. Although I would say that like 99% of it is garbage, there is 1% of some quality that does rise to the top. You just gotta sort through a lot to find it. But as you find quality projects that are undervalued and have huge potential, what I would then do is I would invest like a poor man's venture capitalist. I don't know if you've heard of Fred Wilson, but Fred Wilson is not a poor man. He's one of the most respected venture capitalists today and very, very rich. But once upon a time, things did not look so great. In the early 90s, he had a long string of failures. But after setback, he just kept at it and kept investing. And eventually he would invest in a little startup called Twitter. And then later in startups like Etsy and Coinbase. So as a venture capitalist, you hear thousands of pitches of potential companies that could change the face of the planet. You then say yes to a handful of those that you invest in, and then you experience a bunch of failures. I'm pretty well convinced that 90% of the crypto projects I know and love will cease to exist in 5 to 10 years. Welcome to crypto. And then after all that, you find a few unicorns in the mix. And if you don't know what a unicorn is, it's a rare and beautiful thing. After failure after failure after failure of investment, you find one or two or a few that soar to heights you'd never imagined in your wildest dreams. So how do I become a poor man's venture capitalist? Well, I do those exact same things just across crypto projects. And the beauty of this is you can do it with smaller amounts of money. 500 here, 1,000 there, or maybe a bit more. Again, I expect 90% of the crypto projects I enter to go to zero. I just need 10% of them to work out in a big way. But of course, there's a catch with doing all this. You have to really, truly, actually want it. And I really want you to take this to heart. If you skip this part of the video, you probably aren't as serious about achieving this as you think.
Are you serious?
The harsh reality of this quest to becoming a crypto millionaire is that you have to actually want it. Now, I'm sure you think that you do want it, but what does actually wanting it really mean? Well, in the very early days of when I fully committed myself to this journey to get to where I am today as a multimillionaire, as a crypto millionaire, I can sum it all up in a single word, and that word is sacrifice. I had to sacrifice my social life, my budget, my spending, my fun time of going out to eat or seeing people or whatever, my time in general. Bottom line, I had to give a lot of things up so I could invest as much as I possibly could. So you have to ask yourself, am I willing to give all those things up? Not all of the time, but definitely some of the time. Because if you want to maximize how much money you can put into this space, if you want to maximize how much time you can know about this space and spend time researching stuff, well, then you have to actually give it all that time and focus. That's just the reality of it. Your outcome and your success is as serious as you are about putting yourself and pouring yourself into it. But this also means you have to be open-minded. It's real easy in the previous bull run to get into something, be all excited about it. The bear market comes around, the things you were in all fail, you didn't take profits, and you can go, it was a scam. This will never work out. I'm writing that off forever. I'm not getting those types of things ever again. And I really think that the past is a great lesson teacher, but not a definer. Meaning I look at those failures and I go, what's the lesson here? What can I learn? How can I make my future and things going forward better? But what I don't do is I go, okay, those failures, that's me. I'm a failure now. I don't let those things define me because that's the past. I can look back on it, but it doesn't affect me today if I don't let it. So I use all those great lessons to inform me going forward. And along with that, you have to be patient because all this stuff does not happen overnight. You can certainly become a millionaire this crypto cycle, but it also might take another cycle or two. And you have to be okay with that reality and be okay and willing to stick with it, even when it gets boring, even when the gains are in the trash, even when everybody else around you is giving up. But not only do you need to want it, but you also need to earn more money on the side to invest more. And I'm sorry, I know this sounds obvious. Oh, Andy, earn more money so I can invest more, duh. But it's really not obvious because most people don't do this. Again, going back to those early days of starting my crypto journey, I had so little extra money, I could barely throw $100 to $200 a month into investing. It was like a brick wall. I never had a ton of savings. I never had any extra money. Almost everything that we had from our paychecks went to all of our expenses. It was this brick wall. So how did I get past that threshold? Well, I got creative. Everything in our house that was not nailed down, that I didn't need, that was worth something, I sold. I was on eBay and Craigslist constantly selling everything I could. And then on top of that, I got a bunch of side hustles. I was driving for Uber and Lyft. I was doing tech support for people. I was picking up extra jobs doing photography and stuff. Basically everything that was within my realm of doing and possibility that could earn a little bit of extra money, I started doing. And again, that meant I had to cut into social time and relaxing time and time after work. But guess what? Newsflash, spoiler alert, it was worth it. Because the fact is, you will not get rich investing $5,000 once into the crypto market. I mean, you might. It's like, there is a chance. It's like playing the lottery. You could win, and some people do, but that's 1%.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
The other 99% do not make it doing that strategy. The winning strategy is putting more money into the market over and over and doing it as soon as possible. What you need to do is you need to rinse, repeat every month. And how I treated this was do or die. Every day I thought, how can I make more money to invest right now? And then I got creative with how I earned that money, and that money went straight into investing. I had this mental image of a clock ticking away, that time was running out. And actually it kind of was, because this was during a bear market and the bull market was coming. So that clock was actually ticking. Time was actually running out before all those opportunities turned into the realization of opportunity. But you have to figure out a way to get more money, to invest more money, because this is the life source of investing. Which rolls neatly into this next one, which is building a passive loop or a passive wheel to feed your investments. And again, when I was starting my journey, I was starting from zero. My goal was to make $274 a day, which if you know me, that's the magic number because that's $100,000 a year. And that's not an easy number. It took me a very long time to hit that number. But when you hit that number of making that passively, that gives you this incredible wheel that you can utilize. Because I rarely put new money into crypto, meaning I take money out of my bank account and put it into crypto. Instead, I use money from my crypto passive income to feed new investments, which then in turn can build more passive income to feed more investments. Basically, I was taking money that I was actively earning from my job and side hustles and selling stuff. I invested it in places that would earn me more money. Then I would take that money and invest it into more places that earn more money. And then it grows and it grows. It's a passive loop. It's a wheel. And the bigger it gets, the more money you have to take out of that wheel and put into investing in crypto things that you see are new opportunities or whatever. And there really are so many places you can invest to start this. I've broken down every single one of my crypto passive income investments in this video right here. Watch that and see if anything stands out to you and gives you some ideas for where you could start to be focusing on crypto passive income for yourself. Goodbye.